It's in the spirit of the ancestors who have come before us, whose shoulders we stand upon, that we come today on the birth anniversary of one of our heroes, of one of our guiding lights in the movement for freedom and liberation. So we are bringing together the Good Trouble Lab, one of several labs that we'll host, particularly this year, as we think about the intersection of criminal legal system transformation and protecting our democracy. In other words, how do we mobilize and educate in this year, knowing the challenges that impact our justice-impacted siblings? What do we need to know? How should we move? But also, what are the tools that are available? What are the organizations that are active that we ought to engage and support and plug into as we engage in this work?
My calling to tell the stories of Black people did not leave me. And so that's what I do. And that's why I'm here. And that is my why.
You know, after the Reconstruction era with Jim Crow, of the sort of reversal of rights, and the Daughters of the Confederacy that were here essentially rewriting history, and that whole, that, you know, it was a war between the states, and it wasn't about slavery and all of those things. But literally that is happening right now. Senate Bill 63, it requires cash bail for an additional 30 offenses. So we know the city of Atlanta and other places have been moving away from requiring cash bail because we have evidence-based data, right, that shows us that requiring this doesn't actually make our communities safer.
Dignity and justice for all. And one important thing to note about Southern Center is, although we are a law firm, we were not founded solely by lawyers. We were founded by lawyers, advocates, and clergy. So some of the ministers that we know in the city who have been so critical to movement over the course of decades were also a part of founding the Southern Center for Human Rights, a couple of those being Dr. Joseph Eccles-Lowry and Jose Williams.
But today we're going to talk about this 450,000 people in Georgia that can vote. So whether they're registered or not, there's currently 450,000 people. I ain't gonna say that's an approximate number, but right now, like, they can vote, and we really want to focus on that and mobilize. But in Georgia, as soon as your sentence is over, you can vote. So that means time served, probation served, your voting right is automatically restored. And that information really needs to be out there, because there's a stigma that, well, I have a felony conviction, so I can't vote anymore. That is the furthest thing from the truth.
We can't do this work in isolation. One organization can't combat all the challenges that we discussed this evening, and there are even more that we haven't discussed. It takes all of us. It takes teamwork. It takes volunteers, it takes staff, it takes visionaries, it takes people that put boots on the ground, foot soldiers, to make this work together. Let's get in some good trouble.